I won't
Y yo
even show you.
como buena latina estoy en la cocina.
Qué bien.
Cocinando una comida rica. I wish to be
Ele-
there, though.
Electronic smells.
No, my mom's gone vegan, so nothing out of a box or any. I'm like, really? I can't use like already made sofrito? Okay, I'll make it myself. Okay, fine.
Oh my God. Literally. I guess we do have the time for that. I was gonna say nobody got time for that, but I guess these days we do have the time for that.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, your plants look much better. I'm gonna switch camera and show you my very sad poinsettias. I know they're out of season, but you get the point. Look at that. See, I'm trying to make them survive.
Oh,
wow.
wow. I
So
have
cool.
I
one. It
know.
doesn't look as good as that one.
Tan flacuchis, tan flacuchis.
I know, pobrecita. One more tidbit of my not so nice view. You know, In the Heights, the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Remember this courtyard because you're going to see it in the movie. That's where they recorded
No
the
way.
action. Yeah. So Lin-Manuel Miranda was like right on that fire escape over there. And I woke up one morning at like 6 a.m. to this that gate was taken out. And then it was like, Carnaval en el barrio. And I'm like, who is making all that noise? And I open my window and I'm like, Madre mia, it is the entire cast of what is going to be In the Heights, the movie. So check
Are
it
you
out.
in the background of the movie, like, hey, from the...
I was in the window like that chismosa. I was like, bro, you're going to see me probably peeking out the window like, Madre mia, what is this? So, but it was crazy. That was the most New York moment I've ever had, I have to admit. And I'm from here, but I was like, wow, I've never had a movie filmed right behind my building. So
That is wild.
so that was fun to see, but yes.
Welcome to life in LA where streets are closed all the time for these things. I'm like, really? People gotta go somewhere. Move.
Oh my gosh! So you're in LA, Sylvia?
Yep. City of Angels.
Wow. So we got Florida, we've got LA, we've got San Francisco, the Bay, period.
We need Chicago and well.
There, I wanted to show you all my views.
Wow.
Oh. Ooh.
Oh, she went outside to show us her trees. Wow.
This is my view right here too.
Oh.
Oh, Becky.
Oh, she's so cute.
Oh.
So in LA, you guys become pissed off instead, like, get off my way kind of thing. Oh, Serena is here.
It's everywhere, like, because they'll have the cars on the trucks, and so they'll be taking up the street, or there'll be places in downtown that you can't get any parking because they're filming, and now studios are expanding, so it's not just Hollywood. They're in Culver City, they're in the beach cities, they're everywhere. But it's a huge industry, you know, and they're suffering right now. You know, clearly with everything that's going down. So I am listening them. So
and it takes so much work to get permits to record and stuff like that. So I can imagine shuffling all of that.
Yeah, Lin-Manuel took up a lot of parking, which is very much at a premium in the city. And I have a car, which is terrible in New York. Oh, look at that little cat.
What's the name of your cat?
No kids, but we have fur children. Here we are. So, got my Latino card revoked with the no kids, but you know, saving the population.
Also, I got mine too. Then I guess because.
Hello.
But you're at least halfway there with the marriage, you know. Okay, yeah, calma.
I don't even want to have plants. That's how bad I am. I'm like, it will die. I had a cactus, and the cactus died.
Girl.
That's how bad I am.
Niña. Oh my gosh.
I'm like,
to kill a cactus takes a lot.
I know.
Wow. Niña, did you talk to it? Did
you? No.
Cacti don't really require a lot. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, like, I refuse
That's the
to have...
first time I hear that. My mom always says it's going to last longer if you talk to it. I think that's the first time I hear someone else besides my mom saying that.
Oh no, they do.
believer.
Absolutely. They do.
I mean, especially in these quarantine days, oh, you're going to talk to your plants. It's either that or I got to talk to my husband who's out there
Right.
working, and he's like, leave me alone. I'm like, okay, I'll go talk to our poinsettias.
Oh,
Help if they
yeah,
grow.
they're definitely gonna grow when they get talked to. Okay, for real, I'm gonna get cooking. Si no, mi mamá no va a comer.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Talk soon. All right, so we're gonna get started. Let me introduce you to Eric, one of our most amazing followers and world Latino traveler. I mean, amazing. He has lived in so many countries, in Germany and also in China, and has traveled to countless of other countries. So I'm here to introduce you, Eric. But before Eric speaks, hi, Sherilyn. Can you hear us, Sherilyn?
Sherilyn frozen?
Maybe.
Ooh,
Okay,
I think she's
she'll
frozen.
come back to life. And Serena, she's here again. Welcome.
Hi. Oh, we can't hear you, Serena.
We can hear you.
Are you muted?
No, she's
no.
not muted, but I don't know. All right, so Eric, let's get
Yes.
started.
So, yes. So thank you so much for this invitation.
So when did you go to Philippines? And like, who did you go with?
So the folks that you saw in the picture, those are two really good friends of mine. The woman Nelly is a Spanish teacher, actually. She's from Spain. Both of them are from Spain. They used to be a couple, and they're not anymore. So, but it's an amicable, not anymore. So we all got to know each other when I lived in China. I lived in China between 2013 and 2016. So the picture you see there is late 2015. 20 lies. It's 2016, February, which was Chinese New Year. So we were off because we're teachers or work in school. So we were off for the Chinese New Year break. I lived in China for 3 years. Actually, we all lived in China for 3 years. And so, hey now. Oh, hey. All right now. Yes, I was in Shenzhen. So that was like the Jersey to the Manhattan, which across the river was Hong Kong. And so we flew out of Hong Kong. We bought cheap tickets because it's cheap at that time if you price it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took the trip to Palawan, which is the island that you see us there. It's called Palawan with a P, Palawan.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is, we flew into Manila first and then connected, and then went on to Puerto Princesa, which is the name of the city you land in on the island of Palawan. From there, we took a 5-hour bus van to El Nido. I know, to El Nido, because everybody had talked so much about this. And you know, obviously the Spanish were in the Philippines for millennia, it seems. So lots of the names are indeed in Spanish. So from Puerto Princesa, which was our final flight destination, we took that 5-hour van. Yes, 300 years. Silvia's commenting there. And so thank you for that historical link up. And so we finally arrived in El Nido. So it sounds like a long trip, and it kind of is exhausting. If you want to splurge, you can fly from Manila to El Nido directly. There's a little airport, the teensiest, that takes those propeller planes if you're super adventurous and you want to do that. She and I were both a little more of the weary persuasion, and I was like, no, ma'am. So we're just going to fly with Air Philippines. So we went there. Actually, we flew on Cebu, CEBU. Those are the two kind of big Philippine airlines that fly out of Hong Kong International. So it's either Philippine Airlines or Cebu, Pacific Airways. So super cheap, probably a couple $100 it still is, because I look up all these flights all the time for friends that are still in the region.
Mm-hmm.
Super cheap. It's great to get out of there because it is kind of like China can be very dreary like this, especially the South. So it was great to get out and actually see sun and beach, kind of like what our Latina world traveler Vanessa has in her background there. It looked kind of like that all the time.
Right.
So the Philippines, has anybody been to the Philippines or to Asia? I don't know, in the group. I don't want to
I was supposed to
assume.
leave yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, Thursday to Philippines. But that trip was canceled. of course. But I will
Well,
live through you and your story. Don't worry.
yeah. Well, oh, I hope you get to go soon because it's wonderful. Filipinos are the like. There's literally books written on it. They're like the Latinos of Asia. Like my friend who's a professor at UCLA wrote a book for like the Latinos of Asia, and it's like that. Super, yeah, Cebu Pacific, and it is just really, really welcoming, super friendly, awesome sense of humor. Got home just disinfecting. Oh, and they were like just and made for an awesome experience. So yes, Cebu's been everywhere. So those are other islands on the more like the Philippines has hundreds of islands you could go to. We chose Palawan. Hi. Oh, future world traveler. Hey.
A traveling train.
Yeah. 7,000 plus islands. Yes, Sylvia. Yeah. So, I mean, you could literally make multiple trips to the Philippines. I don't know where you were planning to go, Vanessa, specifically. Oh, did you mute yourself? You muted yourself.
We just had planned to Manila, and then from there we were gonna decide once we were there. I didn't plan the trip because I didn't know what my husband wanted to do. It's his spring break, and I was gonna go with whatever he wanted.
Got
So I
it.
didn't want to
Okay.
plan anything. Yeah.
And for you other travelers as well, it is really that easy to land in Manila, which is a chaotic and crazy hot city, but beautiful to go to. You can land in the capital and then decide where you want to go. Kind of feel your way around and find a good Airbnb in Makati, which is kind of like sort of a ritzier area, for example. That's sort of a good area around the international schools.
I'm
And
taking
you'll
notes.
get lots. Yes. Makati is Makati. Makati City, for example, is just one of the places you can find a good Airbnb. It's super cheap to be in Manila, and you could probably just go around the city for a bit, get your bearings, and then decide where you'd like to go. And it is very easy to get a flight around the some of the islands that Sylvia just listed in the chat if you want to look them up as well. We decided to go to Palawan because we'd seen pictures and it looked stunning, and it really was. So when we landed, like I said, in Puerto Princesa, we headed north to El Nido, which is about a 5-hour van ride, which was beautiful going because we were healthy at that time. And later I get to the part where we were not so healthy, but made the most of it.
Yeah.
And so we arrived there and it was a wonderful Airbnb, super local. She cooked breakfast for us as well. So we cautiously ate the breakfast because we were also cognizant of like our stomachs are very different as well. And we didn't want to get sick. I'll backtrack a little bit saying that I had just flown in from New York and they had just flown in from Spain. So you can imagine the intense jet lag we had as a group the first couple of days. So some of that also fed into maybe what happened later on. So we, I guess the point of the whole tale is, number one, think of group dynamics when you're thinking of traveling with friends as well. Like, you know, I'm sure you all maybe have traveled with friends. One thing is, you know, you got your girl, you got your boy, but another thing is to see them in action on the road is completely different. So my friend, the girl in the picture, Nelly, is very much a prude, pobrecita. So she very much is the type that we need to leave the room for her to go poo. I'm getting very, very graphic so you can understand sort of the reality of what happens. And so I'm very much like, loca, put a hole in the ground and I'm good. I don't care. But I'll say I'm very adaptable, but some people are not. And you just have to be cognizant of that when you're thinking of group travel with your friends, because you want to come back friends. So, so hello. So we had a 1-bedroom which had 3 beds. Even though they were a couple, we had 3 beds. And so, you know, think of those things when you plan. That was fine for me because I don't care, honestly. But you know, for some folks, it might make them uncomfortable. So we went through Expedia at that time because that was what we used in China to get sort of a good package deal of Cebu Pacific Airways, like Sylvia wrote in the chat. and get this sort of local hotel, which is essentially an Airbnb. She was wonderful, the hostess of the house, because she was there every day and would tell us. We didn't actually have any plans, like kind of like Vanessa was saying. We were like, all right, we arrived, beach for like the week that we're here, but we're like, what else are we gonna do? And I'm more of the, again, thinking of the group dynamics, I'm more of the laid back traveler. I'm like, whatever, I could do the same thing every day, which is beach room, to a certain extent. She was more like, we have to have a plan. We have to see culture. We have to talk to locals. And I'm like, locals? Madre mia, no. Mind you, I'm the New Yorker, but she's much more curious in that way. So that helps us push our vacation agenda along. So I wish I could show you the picture where she got my fat ass on a scooter, a motorcycle, madre mia. And because we heard of this like abandoned beach, similar to kind of what's behind Vanessa right now, which was like the rave of like many tourists. They were like, you gotta take it. It's only about a 45-minute scooter ride through the jungle, basically.
Yeah.
To this day, I can't believe I'm even saying I actually did that, but it was really worth it. It was beautiful. And so it was absolutely worth being adventurous in that way. The hostess of the house helped us organize that because we didn't know prices, we didn't know anything, and she told us, listen, this place is going to charge you tourist prices. Let me speak to this person, and then they're going to help you. Kind of like if you go back to your own country where they're like, I'm gonna get you the local prices.
Exactly.
She was like that. Filipinos for the most part are very honest and good in that way, especially in smaller places like that. And post this COVID-19 thing, people are probably going to be extra nice because they're going to be very welcoming of tourists. So think of that in your future travels, because we are going to get through this, I promise you.
Yeah.
And we're going to be able to travel again. And so she helped me stretch my boundaries, my travel boundaries. And I said, you know what? All right, I'll get on this scooter and ride 45 minutes. Madre mia. And so we did, and I am ever so grateful today that we were able to stretch my boundaries in that way, because it was a beautiful find. It was stunning, the beach. Very few tourists. El Nido has a unique attraction with French people, so there's a big contingent of French folk that you're going to see on the part of the island. There's also a lot of French restaurants, because the French love, if anybody's half French or anything, sorry. The French love their food, mija, and so they want a French restaurant. So I'm like, I would not travel to the Philippines to just eat French food, but that's just me. And so the backside of that is, of course, I ate very locally. And so days later, post the scooter ride and everything, I obviously became ill to my stomach. not throwing up, thankfully, but nothing that impaired me. But definitely was very ill. And so this very prudish friend of mine had to deal with the fact that she was also getting ill. And she was just like, I need privacy. And I'm like, girl, you need to hurry up in that bathroom because I'm going to need it. So these are extreme examples, not to gross anybody out, but to think of when you're traveling with your friends, are your friends going to be comfortable if, God forbid, you eat the wrong salad, you eat the wrong pork, let's say. The food in the Philippines is going to be very, very, it's delicious, but it's heavy. It's pork based, obviously, very much.
What was your favorite dish?
Oh my gosh. Lumpia, which is like this. Oh my God, everything was delicious, actually. You have some good Filipino food on the West Coast, actually. So you guys are really lucky in that way. But lumpia to me was delicious. There was like a pork sisig, I think, which is like eggs and pork together. Girl. Orlenda's saying something, but I don't think I can hear her. But
it's so good.
What is it called?
Yes. Yeah.
The pork with egg?
Sisig. It's SISIG. And maybe Sylvia knows.
Sisig for the win.
Yes. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
Disinfected now. I'm clean now.
It was delicious. So you got to try that. And so, yeah, unfortunately, we went to the beach and got a little too local. And I was like, oh, look at this vendor selling this pork. It looked like chicharron, if you know what chicharrones are. It looked it was basically that. I'm pretty sure that's what did us in. And so, indeed, I got sick, but I'm a trooper. It is what it is. And so she got sick, and then her boyfriend got sick.
Oh,
And
wow.
so the three of us were like taking turns, and it just killed one whole morning and afternoon. And I said, we can't live this way.
What did you take to feel better?
So that's the thing. I was trying to message her and ask her what it was that we took. Because another thing this trip taught me was to honestly trust the local folk and trust the pharmacies in other countries other than the US. They gave us something that honestly helped kill the bacteria and got us as good as we could, because remember the 5-hour trip we made to El Nido? We had to make that back to take our flight. So you can imagine if you're in that state, you're not very comfortable.
Yeah.
So we were able to, I cannot remember for the life of me what they gave us in their local pharmacy. But the point is, similarly, I'll sidetrack and say that I was in Brazil many years ago for work, and I got pink eye, which is the worst thing because I'm there for work and I have to talk to students. So you can imagine, I was like, I can't have this. And they were like, no problema, no problema. And they took me to a pharmacy, spoke some type of Portuguese, and got me these drops. And they're like, esto is not in Estados Unidos. And I was like, okay. Am I going to go blind? That's all I want to know. And he said, no. Obviously, it's a real pharmacy. It is what it is. And so I was like, put 2 drops. Girl, these eyes were pearly white in 4 hours.
No.
I don't know. It literally cut the entire thing. I was like, what? So Brazil taught me that, but the Philippines definitely taught me to trust. When the locals take you to a pharmacy and give you like local medicine, some folks are going to be like, what is this? Is it FDA? There's no FDA approval outside of the US.
There's a lot of like organic stuff also.
Yeah, exactly. And medication, that's perfectly fine. And you can definitely take. What we took in the Philippines, if I can honestly find the name, I'll post it in the group. But it cut our stomach, whatever we were having. I mean, it was bad, girl. It was bad. Like, you know, when you get like a quick 6-pack, when you're like, oh, Dios mío. I'm like one stomach flew away from a size 0. Muchacha. I was like, Dios mío. I mean, on the one hand, I'm going to look amazing in a bathing suit. On the other hand, I feel like absolute crap.
Be careful what you wish for.
Hello. So, indeed, I mean, the 3 of us had to take turns, unfortunately, but it brought us closer as a friend group. Thankfully, other people, it might really wear on them. So it taught us to really be resourceful, drink lots of liquids. Obviously our breakfast changed to fruit, and I'm not a big fruit person, but I had to honestly take local remedies. Like we were saying, like Serena was saying, lots of organic things. The locals were like, listen, you've got to eat this papaya. You've got to eat this fruit. I forget the other fruit that they gave us as well in the morning.
Yeah, papaya is really good for your stomach.
Yes. And so they gave us an Asian version of mango basically as well. And honestly, we were absolutely much better. And so I'll post a couple of the other pictures I found on my Google Drive of the sunsets that I was able to take, because we honestly just kept it together, supported each other, but trusted in the fact that the local medicine really does work. And the local remedies, we had abuelitas and titas coming and saying, oh, you should take this, and you should take, and I was like, this feels like the Caribbean. I love it. like mi gente taking care of us in that way. But it made for a tough few days. I'm not gonna lie, it made for a tough few days. But we were much careful about what we eat in the streets. Maybe I'm a little less adventurous than I was at that time, a little more careful. And just always to pack, because I didn't pack any medicine, period. So we learned, if you guys obviously haven't learned, you all are probably much more traveled in that way, to pack something, Pepto-Bismol tablets or something. When I was younger, you wouldn't think of that. You're like, I'm invincible. I'm 20 something, but girl, please.
The baby's about to fall. Somebody, the baby.
She's like, she's good.
I saw her dangling.
Fine, it's a couch behind there.
Oh, okay.
It
She
looks like a
probably-
window from
She
here. So I'm
probably
like,
climbs up there all the time, though.
Okay. I just saw her dangling. I'm like, oh my god, the baby.
oh, she's quick.
No, so, like, how many people here have gotten sick, like, when they travel?
Me,
I've
Dubai.
definitely
Don't-
gotten sick in Thailand. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Don't drink the
Thailand.
camel milk.
Really,
That's what
Serena,
I
you got
just
sick
did.
in Dubai.
Yeah, for 2 weeks straight. It cleaned me out. I lost so much weight.
Wow.
Right? You're like,
It was
God,
tough.
oof.
I was losing
This-
water through holes that water should not be coming out of.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying. It was clear as water. That's how scary it was.
Oh my god.
Yes, yes.
That is so
It's
funny.
time. It's unbelievable how but you know I was thinking of it in my head like, you know what, this is a good like cleanse.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, my body's like, this is not good. I'm just gonna cleanse it, and I took it as that. But let me tell you, if I thought of traveling like that with other friends, and I was like, no, they would never have made it because they're very sensitive. Querétaro, Mexico City, it's totally my fault.
Yeah, ice in
next
my drinks. That was my mistake in Thailand too. That I wanted with
Thailand,
Coca-Cola, I wanted ice because the
Oof.
water, you know.
The last time that I was
Oh,
like
yeah.
that was, has anybody been to Cuba? Which is my
Yes.
parents'
Me.
home island. Yeah. Cristo Rey, I just started going to Cuba as a tourist, like without my family just this year. But before, the trips would be to our hometown. And it was the same thing. I had the papaya or guanabana shake, and they put ice in it. And the ice is what murdered me. I mean, I arrived in Miami and I had to go to urgent care. It was that bad.
Wow.
It
What
was that
city
bad.
are you from in Cuba?
My family's from like Camagüey and Las Tunas, which is all the way east. So it's far from Havana. I just went to Havana the first time in October of this last year. So to visit my cousin there. If other folks, I don't know where you guys went to in Cuba. Probably went to more places. than I
Havana.
have. Yeah, cool.
I went to I'm forgetting the city. It's in the south, like going to Santa Clara down there. What's the name?
Viñales?
It's also the name. I went there, but it's also the name of a country. Let me see if I can find it. But what saved me in Thailand was that they sell in the 7-Eleven carbon pills. Carbon pills.
Yeah.
Once I got sick there, and once I got sick, I just went straight, got my carbon pills because everybody recommended that, and I got straight well. So when I got married there, I went to like at least 5 7-Elevens and bought all of the carbon pills and put it in the welcome bags of every one of my guests. Because I'm like, just in case they get sick, I created like little pouches, like medicine kind of thing. And I put the carbon pills there. They all thanked me for it. They were like, thank you.
gosh.
Because I'm like, I know what could happen.
That is so smart, actually. If you're having like a destination wedding or an event, totally. So now I tell my friends, I'm like, you got to trust the local medicine.
Yeah.
You got to be open to that because some of them are very much like, oh, if they're like that. But I was like, it 100% saves you. Number two, if you travel with folks, think of that dynamic, honestly, with your friends. You want to come back as friends. Other things that, come up, I wasn't single, they weren't single, they were a couple, but other friends have had issues, with like, if you go as like a girl's trip or like a boys trip or whatever, and so drinks are involved and somebody's flirting with somebody and then the other person crosses that path. If that's happened also, those are things those are bridges sometimes that you have to come to cross with friends as well, and things to think about in that way. So what I do with new friends is that I kind of do like a little mini getaway, like to a local city, like let's go just a few hours away first and test it out. And then if that kind of works for like a like a little filler. And then if that works, then I think I'm like, okay, but I'm not about to jump to like Bali with you. To like for a week and be stuck with somebody who's like, I don't like any of this and I don't like any of that. And I'm like, I know me, I know. You're killing my bag. So
I got so sick in Bali. Just this past
yeah.
December, I went there for my honeymoon. First, we went to
Oh.
Japan, and then we went to Bali, and I was feeling my throat a little scratchy on the plane, and then 6 hours later, it just came on. So I had sore throat, fever, and yeah, I think too. So I do carry NyQuil, DayQuil. I carry Vicks. Does anybody else?
That's
No.
a good idea.
I carry that in Hall. So I didn't call the doctor, and they were saying, "Are you sure you don't need a doctor?" Like, I only have a fever. Let me see how it goes. So I think I was with fever for a couple of days, and then we moved to a different hotel because that was my itinerary. I was in the jungle first, and then we moved closer to the beach. And there, I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just need to see someone. So a nurse came to my room, and let me just say that the language barrier was definitely there. When I saw her, because I had been in Japan and not communicating with people, I really missed, like, I love my husband, but also I need to talk to someone else. And so when I saw this lady, I just told her all about how I got to Bali and then I just got so sick. Yeah, she didn't understand anything I said. And she just said, "Can I take your temperature?" and just disregarded everything else. And at that point, I just knew. I'm like, oh, yeah. She said, "Well, you don't have a fever now," definitely with the broken English in there. But if you do, let's call a doctor. And I never got a fever after she came, so that I never got to the doctor. And then I also waited a couple of days, so that was my fault. But language barrier was kind of a big thing for me there. Yeah, so good thing it didn't escalate to anything worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were right here with us.
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't understand.
That's smart though. I never thought of taking Vicks Vaporub, as Silvia just wrote there, Vaporub.
It's like sana sana culito de rana.
Yeah.
That's that helps. Yeah.
That Vicks Vaporub saves lives.
Yeah. Let me tell you. But yeah, I mean, it's about like, obviously you're gonna have a great time. Everything is gonna go well. But I think I've become a more like conscious traveler. Thinking of just, I guess it comes with age. You're thinking, I don't want to freak out and carry like an entire medicine suitcase. But just having those things like what Orlando said, what Silvia's saying, what Vanessa's saying, like having a few just key items that you're gonna need, just in the case. Before I moved to China, I used to do a lot of travel with my job. I used to be in university recruitment, so I would recruit students in other countries, and throughout Latin America, like we travel in groups of like 30 universities. And I remember once they went to Machu Picchu. This was a year that I didn't go on this recruitment tour. And, you know, they got to Machu Picchu and the local host made them all this beautiful just plate of chicken. And like 28 of them got salmonella. The 2 vegetarians are like, I told you that. But 28 of them, they couldn't say no to this, but they were like, should we be eating this chicken that's been out? And 28 of them got salmonella, mija, in Peru. And so and we're on a business trip, so it kind of like puts, they were on a business trip. I didn't go that year. But I heard that is an infamous story. Like it took out like 28 people. They were all in their rooms like dying. But
that's crazy.
But the ones that were like precavido, you know, that they brought like a few different things. They were giving out like, it looked like they were like pandering drugs. They were giving out like Pepto-Bismol tablets to everybody in the group. And they got through it obviously as a group, but it was those folks that were like, thank God I had brought like I don't know, like what you would call it, one of those like oat bars, for example, because you're obviously not going to be super hungry, but you need to eat something, for example. So thinking of packing some of those as well. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you all made it back safely, I guess, to Spain.
Yes,
Did you come back to New York, or you went straight to China from there?
we went straight to China because the school year started about a week after that. So we were on break for a month. We all went back to our sort of our sides of the world, and then we met up before the break. We met up in Hong Kong to then take the flight to the Philippines. And then we went back. We had about another week before the school year started. So we cautiously boarded the van and took the 5-hour trip back. Not necessarily completely recuperated, so we were all very nervous. But we made the best of it. We joked. You know, you have to have a sense of humor. You have to have a sense of humor. But we still remember that experience because I'm like, that really solidified our friendship. And we're like, listen, if we can like sit there and like put up with all this this really, really bad time together, then we were really good friends. And to this day, I mean, one of them is back in the south of Spain. The other one lives in Costa Rica now. And we're really good friends. We were going to all meet up in Mexico, but COVID-19 just killed that. So I'm trying to like call the airline later tonight or tomorrow and be like, Aeromexico, could you give me my money back? I don't think they're going to, but
when is the trip supposed to be?
It was supposed to be April 30th.
There is a possibility.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because her flight was straight up canceled. She's flying Avianca, San Jose, Ciudad de Mexico, and they straight up canceled her flight.
Oh, wow.
Straight up canceled her flight. And I'm like, well, if they canceled your flight, then
they should be canceling yours.
Some insider knowledge.
Sorry?
Can I share some insider knowledge?
Yes.
So I will not identify the airline that I work for, but you know, my understanding, at least what one of Aeromexico's partner airlines is doing is pretty much system-wide, you are given credit if you have not flown that leg due to COVID-19. So we've had people even come to the airport and because of possible quarantining abroad, they're not flying, and the system recognizes what's going on right now. So they have until the end of the year, for now, to then rebook their trip. Now, if the government start extending things, that may go into 2021. Of course, Aeromexico has their own policies, so you want to make sure to check Aeromexico's websites and whatnot. Right now, nothing's being given physically. There's no receipt of this per se because it's so system-wide. So again, I would say check with their website. The reservation centers are completely bombarded right now. There's a shortage of staff for many reasons. And once this dies down, potentially, don't quote me, but the credit would be in a system if they didn't fly during this time, if their flights were canceled or anything of that nature, because a lot of the airlines are also foregoing their change fees. You know, sometimes it can be up to $200. So they're foregoing those as well. Again, just keep checking their website. All their policies for COVID-19 should be on their websites, their communiques to their customers. So if that hasn't happened yet, then let them know, because you also want to see how long the flights are suspended. Some particular flights right now are suspended through April 30th. When Shanghai first hit, that was through May, I believe. So again, all the routes, the regions were changing first because of the airline, where the airline was based, and then it started becoming where the airline was going, right? Because of where the governments were shutting down. So it depends on the airline's base. Sometimes they're primary citizenship base, right? Because I work for a US carrier. They knew that governments were shutting down and weren't gonna let US citizens in, or were going to quarantine US citizens. So as a US based airline, they stopped routes there. Aeromexico being Mexico based may be opposite. Do you know what I mean? So there's just a lot of factors going around within the industry, but definitely check those out.
Excellent.
Thank you for
really,
that
really
insight.
good information.
Very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's completely rerouted trip. So yeah, we're having to have virtual meetings like this and be like, listen, we're not going to be able to meet up. And I was like, I also had another trip to Miami planned at the end of this month. Like I was going to leave like tomorrow. And so Airbnb fully refunded everything to me, thankfully. And United is not necessarily being as generous. They're like, oh yeah, we'll just hold it as a credit. And I'm like, no, pero I want my money back. I'm not going to be traveling right now, and I can't think of another. You could reroute it anywhere, and they won't charge you a change fee, which is fine. But I'm not traveling anywhere anytime soon, so I'm like, I want my money back. So
Everybody's trying to keep their money as much as possible.
that's the thing, yeah, yeah. They're. I'm sure they're. Has anybody else had any other plans changed with COVID? I'm sure you have.
I was supposed to
But
travel to Japan with my students. This is a trip we have been planning for 2 years. And we already had 19 students. There were about 3-4 teachers and me.
oh,
And we were going now in April. And it's all canceled. And then, like I said, I was supposed to go to Philippines with my husband. And we were going to stop in South Korea. I actually purposely bought it stopping there because I'm like, oh, I get to visit another country. And as soon as South Korea came, they shut down everything. I'm like, I guess we can't go anymore.
oh my God. So you were gonna fly probably Korean Air.
Yes,
Korean
it was
Airways.
Korean Air.
Yeah. If folks know, they do which is maybe what you were doing, Vanessa, they do the free layover in Seoul. So if you have a long layover, especially if you have a 7-hour plus layover, you get a
I
free
did
tour of Seoul.
24. I was gonna do 24 hours going and 24 hours coming back. So I got 2
Yeah.
days. But I'm like,
Excellent.
ew. My goal was to visit 5 new countries this year. So I'm like, this is messing up all of my goals. Because that's 3 countries down the drain.
Yeah. It was beautiful. I did on the way when I lived in China on the way back to New York. I did a layover in Seoul, but mine was only free shower and some type of massages in Incheon Airport, the international airport in Seoul. Celia's writing. So indeed, you get showers there, obviously, and then if you land and you have above a 7, you can have a 2-hour, at minimum 2 hours, but 3 to 4 hours is good. You'll get to go to like a quick temple, let's say, nearby. Just to get out of the airport and see something in Korea was exciting for me. But if you have like a 7 or a 24-hour layover, goodness, you could see Seoul. Seoul is about 50 kilometers, 27 or so miles from the airport. So to see the city is like really, really cool. I've never been.
Anything that you recommend there?
No, I've never been to the city of Seoul.
Oh, okay.
My layover was too short, so I just got out and saw a little bit of Incheon, the actual city around it, and we went to this beautiful temple. Admittedly, it was January, and it was like, girl, it was like -5. Sunny, but it was like cold as heck. And I was like, this is beautiful. Can we go inside the temple and like pray the cold away? It was cold.
I would not think about that. Like they're being cold like that. No way.
Yeah, in the winter it is really, really cold. But in the summer it's like extremes in Korea. So but you're gonna have you would have had a great time. Obviously, you would have been able to connect.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Very
Celia is
cool.
like our resident expert. Seoul Tower, all the cosmetic shops. My goodness.
Well, she will be one of our special guests too. So I cannot wait because she has a lot of knowledge of Southeast Asia because she lived there for many years, and also she lived in New Zealand, I believe. So we're gonna find out.
Exciting.
Yeah, and she works for an airline now, so that makes it even more exciting because she gets to explore more.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks for the students that they can't go to Japan, then.
And these are kids like from New York City. We are from Chinatown. My school is in Chinatown, and I was like, I really want to take them like to all the parts of the world. So I planned a trip before to China. Like I wanted to take them to different places because most of the trips were to Europe. And I'm like, yeah, Europe is good, but I want to take them out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, going to Asia, you've been as well. It's 100% just cliche, but it really is a different side of the world. The food, the smells, the culture, it's just amazing to see the variety from Japan, if you're able to see Korea and China, Hong Kong, Macau as well. Amen for exposing us to other cultures. Yes.
Yeah.
Celia's saying exactly, because
Yeah.
my family would be like, how can you live in China? I don't understand how you can like,
Oh, it's one of my
you know,
favorite countries. I went.
same,
It's
yeah.
the only country that made me cry. There is no other country that has made me
Oh,
cry before. When I was at the airport leaving, I was just weeping and I recorded myself because I'm like, it's an ugly cry because I was like, I couldn't believe that I went to China. And then I say, I'm gonna
wow.
take my students. And I took my students there and I took my mom. Unfortunately, my mom got sick.
Awesome.
She got pneumonia
Oh, oh,
because I guess
oh,
the air in Beijing, made her really, even though she had a mask, she just got sick. So
yeah.
she had to fly back by herself because I had to
Oh,
continue with the students in the trip. So, but it was like one of the most beautiful countries I've ever seen.
that's
And I was
awesome.
like, this Dominicana moved to New York at 17 and look where she is now in China. And I just couldn't
Yeah,
believe it. Like I am in China and I just cried.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And
Hmm.
that's what the beauty of travel is, to be able to, you know, with my job, I was able to go as well to like see the pyramids in Egypt while we were working in Cairo. And that almost, when I saw that definitely brought a tear to my eye. And then Corcovado, you know, the one in Rio, the sugarloaf, the Jesus statue,
Hmm.
that was like over the top for me. I was literally almost weeping. I was like, I cannot believe I'm standing at the foot of this thing in Rio de Janeiro, like looking at this thing like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, you know, you feel so lucky to be able to do these things. And to be able to, you do feel very, very lucky and fortunate to do these things. Look up Chris Polanco, he's Hong Kong based. Oh,
Yeah. The other
and
place that
also,
made me feel that way was when I went to Mexico for the Day of the Dead. When I was entering the Pantheon,
oh,
and like I was
yeah,
seeing all the families with the lights and the flowers and the decorations, I just felt like, oh my God, like for 10 years, I taught it in my classroom because I'm a Spanish
yeah,
teacher and I taught the culture and the history behind it. And now being able to be there and witnessing it, oof, I was like, oh my God,
yeah.
I can't contain myself. It was like, so it was super emotional.
That's awesome. And that you're able to like infuse that in students that otherwise, you know, we New Yorkers sometimes are like, we don't need to. I mean, I literally have friends who say this, why do I got to go anywhere? We got everything in New York. And I'm like, Mija, that is such a closed view of the world. I was like,
Mhm.
we have two international airports. Get up on a plane and see it yourself. There is nothing like being in a place where you are. It's the fun of travel. Where when I arrived in China, yes, I moved there, but I couldn't read anything. I couldn't speak. I couldn't like communicate. And I think that that was the initial frustration. But then as I learned and I asked questions and explored, it really opened me up and it really taught me to like, if you can, you know, they say if you can survive in New York, you can make it anywhere. I'm like, move to China and try that out for size. But my living in China also like inspired a bit my cousin. I have a younger cousin who's 20, he's 25 now, but he was in college. He was at Baruch, also from the Bronx, born and bred, Cuban and Dominican.
Mhm.
And then he was like, cousin, I want to go to like China. And I'm like, go. There's a trip with Baruch with CUNY City University of New York that he was a student at.
Yeah.
And he sure as heck signed up for it. And he took the class and he went to China. And it also did the same, had the same experience as you, Vanessa. Like, he was like, I was literally like in tears. I couldn't believe I was walking the Great Wall. And he was like, just to think that I'm just a kid from the Bronx. And here I am, like 10,000 miles away from home. And I said, the world becomes this much smaller when you're like, you think of like how much you've moved around the globe in just a
Mhm.
14-hour flight, you know? So,
Yeah.
so that's beautiful that you get to do that with students as well. So keep doing
Yes.
that, please. It's very necessary in this world. Please keep doing that.
Well, I'm not a teacher any longer, but that is one
Yeah.
of the things that I have planned for Latino World Travelers to continue that tradition of taking the younger generation to explore the world. So I'm
Yeah.
really looking forward to the next steps with Latino World Travelers.
Yeah.
Oh,
And certainly, even if they can't like leave, let's say, leave the country or leave the world, but there's so many other ways locally that you can create global experiences. So
mhm.
maybe hitting up a different restaurant in your city or your town or a nearby town that you didn't know about. Like if you've never had Ethiopian food, let's say, maybe you can go to the next city or the town that has an Ethiopian restaurant and
Mhm.
ask about the flavors and what makes that food. That's a global experience locally that you
Yes.
could still be having. So,
I used to
and
do that with
yeah,
my advisory.
yeah,
I took them one group one year. I took them to Murray Hill to an
yeah,
Indian restaurant, and they were
yeah,
hesitant, like, "Oh, I don't like it," and I'm like, "How do you know you don't like it? Have you ever tried it?" And they were like, "No," and I'm like, "So you don't know then? Try it, and then after you try, you can tell me yes, I like it, or no, I don't like it." They tried it. They cleaned the plate. And it was like unlimited, like they keep coming. And they were like, "Can we have more? Can we have more?" And I'm like, "You see, all you have to do is at least try it.
yeah.
Then
And
you can decide, but don't say you don't before you even try it."
exactly, exactly. As a side note, Sherilyn has a very stocked fridge. It's a very well stocked fridge. You are ready for the apocalypse, Mija. You
Well,
are.
my husband is deployed, so he's in Djibouti. And I'm here
What?
by myself with two toddlers. So I'm like, I'm not going out to get any germs. I got the flu
Oh,
last week. So I was like, no, like everybody got the flu and it was not funny. So
wow.
Are you feeling better?
yeah, no, we're like fine. That was last week. It was like, oh my God, I was like, I'm gonna die.
Mm. And did you
Oh,
live in Japan as
Right?
well?
Some biotics. No, I went for vacation. My husband was stationed in South Korea, and then we took a vacation down there, and I loved it.
Wow.
I was the same way. I'm like, I can't believe I'm in Japan. Like, I am in Japan by myself. It was amazing. And then he met
that's
me like three
awesome.
days later. So I was like, this is cool. Like,
How
Yeah. It's
awesome.
like that moment
so
of appreciation.
which is everybody wants to come. Yeah, it was like when I step out of the train station, I was like, I feel like I'm in a movie. Like, is this
Right,
real? Like, it was crazy. It was so,
right.
and the people were really nice. Japan, like,
Yeah,
and so organized. Everything makes sense. Like, it was
yes.
amazing.
I
A
heard
lot of
people
Yeah,
dress.
shopping. I was
I
like,
heard
oh
people dress really well there.
yeah, you
Like
can't go
really?
with like short shorts. Like you will stand up. Like they will be like, they will look at you like weird.
They'll be. She's a tourist. Obviously, she's a tourist.
And I did that like the first day. I was like, ooh, no, I can't do this. So I have to go back and buy some nice dresses. I was like,
oh Jesus.
oh. Because I did not do my research. I just went. Like
Yeah,
I was so excited to leave my kids. So I just packed my bags and my grandma, my mother-in-law always give us like a week or so we can go by.
That's
así
awesome.
mismo, yes.
So
That's
she's so
awesome.
nice. I was supposed to go to Germany in May, but
Oh,
Were you gonna go
that's a
with
good
by
sign.
yourself, or your husband was gonna meet you there?
yeah, he was gonna meet me there because he had like meetings in Germany. And we
Oh.
were gonna check
Oh,
the castles and stuff.
Well, hopefully this all like
I'm like, I need this. I need this to go
yeah.
away. I was
I
gonna
We
know.
just got informed that my husband's school, everything is gonna be online for this entire semester, and even graduation is canceled already.
oh that's
Oh,
And that's supposed to be in June. They canceled it like yesterday, and I'm like, okay, so you're not
yikes.
gonna walk, but I'm like, at least you get the degree.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
oh man.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want you to be safe, so let them cancel it then.
That's the point of it, unfortunately.
Patrol.
Yikes. Yeah. I'm also part-time in graduate school, and same thing, they announced that we're online for the rest of the semester, and that the students, similarly, the students are not walking in person, not all thousands of them. So yeah, it's a brave new world. Hopefully this all blows over, hopefully earlier in the summer. From a friend that works in like the hospitals here in New York, they're saying like roughly we'll be in some deep quarantine time, like what we're doing now, for at least about another month to two, maybe. So hopefully by about May or so, it'll peak. Like we'll begin to see a decrease in the number of people getting it. And that means that we're hopefully winning this. So hunker down and, and do these things.
Yeah.
Do lots of this if you need to do it as well, which is great.
Yeah. That's why I pop my bottles, because I'm like, I go to sleep like a baby.
Yeah. If not, my God. Oh. Yeah. Goodness. So when would be the next one of these talks with our
It's tomorrow.
resident expert who left the room
Tomorrow
earlier?
we have two experts. I'll tell you right now. We're gonna have Angel and Delilah, and they're gonna be tuning in at 6 Eastern time. 6 p.m. Eastern time. So it's two people. And they're going to talk about budget trips in Thailand. So,
Quick question. Can you still fly to Florida or no?
if you can what?
Fly, like go to Florida or not?
I think you can. I don't think
domestic traveling
flights,
is not, it's not restricted.
Yeah.
But you risk going over there.
International, because I saw people that were leaving to Sweden from the school here today, and they were leaving to Singapore because their countries say like come back home with like the international students, so they're leaving.
Yeah.
Very cold up here.
Yeah, it's scary.
Well, people in Florida are like, if it's not coronavirus. Did you see the article about them being on the beach? I'm like,
yes.
Because it's their spring break.
I'm just
gonna
go
enjoy it.
Backyard and just get some sun. I don't want to see.
Yeah, but they just closed them down. Thank God.
Yeah.
She lives there. She lives there.
I was like,
It's
I just want to go and just lay in
The young
backyard.
people, they're acting like nothing's happening.
Until they get it, or they know somebody, like a friend that died from it. They're like, oh shit.
Hello. In Texas too, there was huge parties, South Padre Island. And I was like, and I posted that on my Facebook where the kid is like, if I get corona, all right, I got it. And then I'm like, you don't want to really have it, dude.
Yeah.
In DR, they were throwing Koto parties.
No.
In DR. They were calling it Koto parties.
They don't know what they're doing. Well, they just closed everything in DR. They cancel all the flights and everything, and they close the borders.
Okay.
Yeah. The issue with it is that if you get it, they say you get your lungs can never function properly for the rest of your life. You get up to 60% that they will function. So it's like, you could get it, but it was the aftermath.
Yeah.
That your lungs won't be able to function 100% ever.
Yeah.
So
it's real
scary.
damage.
Yeah, it's scary because China's 4 months in and we're just starting. So we're not going to have a summer or a spring. See you guys in the fall.
Yes.
Well,
there's no hot girl summer. None of that.
So no diet this year? No diet.
No, Kitty. What? No. Oh my God.
We're gonna be doing ¿cómo se llama? Como fashion shows in the living room. Right.
By the time everybody eats their quarantine snacks, they're gonna have to let out a few more inches out of the clothing and the dress, unless you're really good and you're doing exercise at home, which some people are. But yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining.
Yes.
I love that you came, and I hopefully you will connect tomorrow, and I will see you again tomorrow.